Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that's critical for any business looking to get ahead in this data-driven world: building a data strategy tailored to your business. Now, data strategy might sound a bit buzzwordy, but don't worry. We're going to break it down into practical, real-world terms. Whether you're running a small business, a startup, or a large company, having a solid data strategy is no longer just a nice to have. It's essential if you want to stay competitive. So let's start with a simple question. Why does your business even need a data strategy? Well, in today's landscape, data is everywhere. It's in the transactions your customers make, in the traffic that hits your website, in the interactions happening on your social media pages, it's in your email marketing campaigns, your inventory management, and even in how your employees use internal tools. Data is flowing through your business, whether you realize it or not, and it's full of valuable insights. But, and this is a big but, just having data isn't enough. You need a plan to actually do something useful with it. That's where a data strategy comes in. Now, a good data strategy is like a roadmap. It helps you figure out where to focus your efforts when it comes to collecting, analyzing, and using data in a way that drives value for your business. And here's the key thing: your data strategy has to be tailored to your specific business goals. It's not about collecting data for data's sake. It's about collecting the right data and using it to make better decisions. So how do you start? Well, the first step is understanding your business objectives. What are you trying to achieve? This sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how many businesses dive headfirst into data collection without a clear sense of what they actually want to do with it. Are you trying to improve customer satisfaction, increase sales, streamline your operations? Maybe you want to personalize your marketing efforts, or maybe you're looking for insights to help you innovate and stay ahead of the competition. Whatever it is, you need to have those objectives front and center because they'll guide everything else in your data strategy. Once you've got your objectives nailed down, the next step is figuring out what data you need to achieve those goals. This is where things can get a bit tricky because there's a ton of data out there and not all of it is useful. In fact, one of the biggest challenges businesses face is filtering out the noise and focusing on the data that actually matters. For example, let's say your goal is to improve customer satisfaction. You might want to collect data on customer feedback, purchase history, website behavior, and maybe even social media mentions. On the other hand, if you're trying to optimize your supply chain, you'll want to focus on things like inventory levels, supplier performance, and delivery times. The point is, the data you collect should be directly tied to the outcomes you care about. Now, once you've identified the right data to collect, the next challenge is figuring out how to collect it. This might involve using tools like CRM systems, web analytics platforms, or even custom-built databases. You'll need to think about where your data is coming from. Is it coming from your website, your sales team, your customer service department? Maybe it's a combination of internal data and external data from third-party sources. And let's not forget about the technical side of things. How are you actually going to store and manage all this data? Do you have the infrastructure in place? Do you need cloud storage? These are the kinds of questions you'll need to answer as part of your strategy. One thing I always tell people is to avoid the temptation to go overboard with data collection. More data isn't always better. And it's really easy to end up with a bloated, messy database full of information you'll never use. Instead, focus on quality over quantity. Collect the data that's going to provide actionable insights and don't get distracted by everything else. It's also important to make sure your data is clean and well organized. Dirty data, data that's incomplete, outdated, or inaccurate, can lead to poor decision making. So you want to have processes in place to keep your data in good shape. All right, so let's say you've got your data collected and stored properly. What's next? Well, now comes the fun part, actually analyzing the data to extract insights. This is where a lot of businesses fall short. They've got all this data, but they don't really know what to do with it. And honestly, this is where having the right tools and the right people becomes crucial. Depending on your business and the complexity of your data, you might need to invest in some data analytics software or even hire a data analyst or data scientist. We will get back to the podcast in just a second. This is just a note from me that if you want to learn how to get hands-on with data, you can find courses on Python, Apache Spark, and more at cody.co.uk. The type of analysis you'll need depends on your goals. For some businesses, simple descriptive analytics might be enough. This could involve looking at historical data to understand trends and patterns, like which products are selling best or what time of year your website gets the most traffic. For others, predictive analytics might be more valuable. This involves using data to make forecasts about future behavior. For example, you could use predictive analytics to anticipate which customers are most likely to churn or which products are likely to sell out. And then there's prescriptive analytics, which goes one step further and actually suggests actions you should take based on the data. This could be something like an AI-driven recommendation system that tells you which marketing strategies will yield the best ROI. Now, let's talk about the human element here for a second, because it's easy to get caught up in the technology side of things and forget that at the end of the day, it's people who are making decisions. Data is only as good as the decisions it helps you make. And no matter how advanced your analytics tools are, you still need people who can interpret the data and apply it in a way that makes sense for your business. This means making sure your team is data literate, that they understand how to read the data, what it means, and how to use it to make informed decisions. If your team isn't comfortable working with data, it doesn't matter how much you invest in fancy analytics tools. You won't get the value you're looking for. This brings us to another important point: collaboration. Building a data strategy isn't something that happens in a silo. It needs to be a collaborative effort that involves multiple departments across your business. Your marketing team needs data to understand customer behavior and tailor campaigns. Your sales team needs data to close deals and manage relationships. Your operations team needs data to improve efficiency. The list goes on. For your data strategy to be successful, you need to break down silos and make sure that data is accessible to the people who need it when they need it. This means fostering a culture of data sharing and collaboration within your organization. Okay, so we've talked about collecting data, storing it, analyzing it, and using it to make decisions. But there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to cover, and that's governance. This is the part that a lot of businesses overlook, but it's incredibly important. Data governance refers to the policies, procedures, and standards you put in place to ensure that your data is managed responsibly. This includes things like data privacy, security, and compliance with regulations like GDPR or CCPA, depending on where your business operates. Let's face it, data breaches and privacy concerns are all over the news these days, and customers are becoming more aware of how their data is being used. If you don't have strong governance in place, you're not only putting your business at risk of fines and legal trouble, but you're also eroding the trust of your customers. People want to know that their data is being handled responsibly, and if they feel like you're not respecting their privacy, they'll take their business elsewhere. So part of your data strategy needs to include clear guidelines on who has access to data, how it's being stored, and how you're keeping it secure. And speaking of trust, transparency is key here. If you're using customer data, be upfront about it. Let people know what data you're collecting, why you're collecting it, and how you're using it. If you're using data to personalize marketing or improve the customer experience, most people will be okay with that as long as you're transparent. It's when businesses are secretive or shady about how they're using data that people start to get suspicious. Now, one final thought before we wrap up. A data strategy isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's a living, breathing part of your business, and it needs to evolve as your business grows and as technology changes. You need to continuously monitor how your data strategy is working, assess what's going well and what's not, and make adjustments as needed. Maybe you'll find that you're collecting too much data and need to streamline. Or maybe you'll discover new data sources that could provide valuable insights. Either way, you need to stay flexible and keep refining your strategy over time. To sum it all up, building a data strategy tailored to your business is about more than just collecting data. It's about having a clear vision of your business goals, understanding what data you need to achieve those goals, and then using that data in a smart, responsible, and collaborative way. It's also about making sure you have the right people, processes, and technology in place to make sense of the data and turn it into actionable insights. And of course, it's about doing all of this in a way that respects privacy and builds trust with your customers. I hope this deep dive into data strategy has given you some food for thought and practical tips to start building or improving your data strategy. It's a complex topic, but with the right approach, it can be incredibly rewarding. Remember, the goal is not just to collect data, but to use it effectively to drive meaningful outcomes for your business. So, as you embark on building your data strategy, keep these key points in mind. Start with clear business objectives, focus on collecting the right data, ensure it's clean and well managed, invest in the right tools and talent for analysis, foster a culture of data literacy and collaboration, and maintain strong data governance practices. And don't forget to be adaptable. Data strategy is not a static endeavor, but something that will evolve as your business and technology do. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you're leaving with a better understanding of how to build a data strategy that's tailored to your specific needs and goals. If you have any questions or need further clarification on anything we covered, feel free to reach out. Until next time, keep leveraging your data wisely, and here's to making informed decisions that propel your business forward.